Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your Devops SRE DevSecOps coach. Okay, so the first thing what we are supposed to have a question in mind, what is Terraform, right? What is Terraform? That is the first question. So if I look at the Terraform, I find using Terraform, you can code for infra. That is something which we do. We are writing code for infrastructure. This is something which you do. Now the question you should ask, coding you understand, but the next question is what's in infra, right? What's in infra? What do we have in infra? So guys, I don't think so I have to tell you what is there in infra. Whatever you use, whatever the platform we have, most of the time supported by APIs, that is in infra. So for example, let's say uh, mm, for that answer, let's say I will go to Terraform providers. And here if I go, here it is. This is the infra. So AWS is considered to be infra, Azure, Google Cloud, Kubernetes, and so many. Scroll down and see this 4,245 providers. That means these are the platforms you have. Using Terraform, you can code for it. Simple, right? So this is something we are doing. So we are writing a code to automate the things in infra. So that is something which you do. Now, next question is like why we need to do, why need to learn Terraform and to do the coding. Now nowadays, if you look at the complexity what you have in the infrastructure, in order to, let's say, staging environment you have, integration environment you have, and the production environment you have, dev environment you have. So these environments, you know what, first thing you have to create the infrastructure, right? Now when you create a staging environment, let's say, so how many resources you need to create? So let's say 200 resources. Or let's say integration, let's say 250 resources you want to create. For production, let's say 1000 resources you have to create. Maybe dev you need to create 20 resources, so like that. So you need to create infrastructure resources, okay? And when I say resources, let's say AWS. So AWS, what you can create? You create a VPC, you create EC2, you create load balancer, you create EBS, you security group, many other things, right? You know that. Similar to with Azure also. So you have to create infrastructure, but at the same time, whatever you created, you can update through also. And then same time, if you want to destroy the whole infrastructure, the one which you created, you should do that. But the most important thing is one command for it. That is a thing, one command for it. That means one command to create whole infrastructure, one command to update whole infrastructure, and one command to destroy whole infrastructure. So we need certain tools, we need certain ways to do that. And that is where we decided to write a code for infrastructure. And for that, we decided to write a Terraform. So are you understanding, all of you? Why do we need it, Terraform? Okay, so now typically, if anyone you ask what is Terraform, they'll say IaaC, infrastructure as a code. Same thing, code for infra is simple definition for me. IaaC is like infrastructure as a code, that's as a service. Okay, so now if I look at the Terraform, this tool is written in Go. Okay, written in Go. So guys, the moment if I say it's written in Go, please do not ask me, can I run Terraform in Windows or Mac or Linux? Why? Because you know that Go is a platform independent. Yes, you can run on any platform. So yes, Terraform can be run on anything. Now guys, they have a multiple releases which we need to understand. One release is a community release. This is something which I'm trying to show you the demo for it. So community release, this is a free and it's a command line tool basically. But we have an enterprise also, and this is basically paid, and it is basically website. Okay, and then we do have a cloud also. This is also paid if you want to use it, and this is also website. That means enterprise you can install within your premises, and let's say if you are not going for that, so you can go for hosted solution, which is like a cloud based solutions, and so on, right? So these are the three releases, out of which I'm focusing on the command line. That's the most important one because that's where you write a code, test the code and all. This websites and all is only for the management or large organizations. Uh, if you have a large organization, hundreds of people are working, then you need these enterprise and cloud. Else 80-90% of the things you can do through community editions. If you need enterprise version of capability like SSO integration, UI, this, that, and all, then you can go for enterprise and cloud. So yeah, this is a UI and this is a UI. But coding cannot be done on UI. You can run, manage. As I said, repeat, enterprise problems will be solved by enterprise version of Terraform. Okay, so this is something which we have. So yep. Now the question is, who introduced the Terraform? Okay, so this has come from the company called HashiCorp. Now let me tell you here, the HashiCorp, the company who develop a software only for the infrastructure automation or software engineers or something like that. So you will find most of their products are very popular. For example, some of the products like Vagrant, then I'm teaching you Terraform, then Packer, so many products they have it, right? So many products they have it. Now I would insist after this session you can spend some time on this website. Okay, so you'll get a different perspective altogether. So see here, these are the products: Terraform, Packer, Waypoint, Nomad, Vagrant, Vault, Wandray, Console, all these things. There's a few more products which is not listed, probably this website is not updated, so likewise. Okay, so sanitary and all, there's one more product which we have for policy making, which is not there here. Sanital, sorry, Sanital. Okay, so this is from the HashiCorp. Uh, I just said, spend some time here. Now, the website of Terraform is not this one. You have to open Terraform, and here it is, terraform.io. This is the website. You should spend some time as well. Okay, so this is the use case, registry, tutorial, docs, community, and all, download and all stuff like that. Okay, so now the first thing which we wanted to know, what is Terraform, and second thing which we wanted to understand at a high level, why we need it. We need it because one command for creating, updating, and destroying the infrastructure. So guys, are you comfortable so far, all of you?
Yes, Rajesh. Yeah.
Great. Now, next question you should ask me, how Terraform works. The question you should ask me, how Terraform works, a Terraform architecture. That means how using Terraform code you can automate everything, creating the whole infrastructure of a staging, integration, production, and hundreds of providers, maybe more than 4,000 providers are there, but on real time you'll use hundreds of providers like AWS, Kubernetes, this, that, and all, right? So here, if you see that any providers which you see here, these all providers which you can find, it's enabled with the API, mind it, enabled with API. Okay, so now the question is how it works. That is something which you need to learn, right? So let's understand this through some. Okay, so now how it works. So guys, here, first thing, mm, first thing, this is, let's say, you. Okay, and then I just said here you are writing a code, correct? So this code you are writing. Now how you are writing code, this I'll teach you a little bit later. Forget about that. So this is you are writing a code. Now this code which can automate, can do the automation and creating infrastructure. Let's say you have AWS, okay, let's say Google Cloud, and let's say Kubernetes. So here you have hundreds of resources you want to create. Google Cloud hundreds of resources, and Kubernetes also hundreds of resources. Now guys, when I say AWS hundreds of resources, what does that mean? So let me show you here. This is the AWS, and see resources. So many resources on my screen. So let me tell you, if you're exploring the Terraform, you should know one of the cloud provider at least, like either AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure. Or let's say if you want Kubernetes resources. So Kubernetes, if you know the Kubernetes, you should be knowing. But if, let's say if you don't know, then here it is. Uh, List of Kubernetes resources. Where is that? I'm not able to find official documents actually. I think this one. Yeah. So here you see left side, these are the Kubernetes resources. kubectl, 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 right? All this thing. So many resources are there. So you want to create hundreds of resources through your code on AWS and Google Cloud or Azure and Kubernetes. Now you will say, Rajesh, why do we need to learn Terraform? I can create a resources on AWS using CloudFormation. Yeah, that is very much true. You can create an Azure ARM, Kubernetes also. You can write a YAML chart, a Helm chart, and also. Why do we need this? So basically, this guy can see if you use the CloudFormation, let's say on AWS, will it work on Azure? Will it work on Google Cloud and other stuff? No, it will not work. It will not work. You know that, right? So we need one coding standard which will work with all the providers, all the infrastructure too. And that is where the Terraform you need it. That means one tool will work for 4,000 providers. That's one of the most important reason what we have. Okay, so now what will happen? So now you write a code, then you will say, Rajesh, I find very difficult to write a code because I'm not a code savvy person or something. So let me tell you, the code which you are going to write, that is very easy. This code we call it HCL code. Very easy to learn, debug, test, and do all this stuff. So HCL means HashiCorp configuration language. Okay, so this is something which you have, HashiCorp configuration language. Okay, so HCL, HashiCorp configuration language. So you will write this code. Now this code should create all the infrastructure, right? So how it works? How it works? So you send this code to Terraform. Okay, so now the question is, okay, this Terraform, when I say what is this? So guys, don't complicate yourself. This Terraform, the one which you have, is just one executable which is lying in your laptop. It can be on Linux, it can be Windows, it can be Mac, just executable. That's all. One exe file for the Windows. That's all. So how do you download? I'll show you that. That's not a big deal. But this is just executable. You send this executable and you say, hey, this code, either I want to create it or update it or destroy it. Same thing. So you, whatever the resources, one resources, two resources, 100, 200, 300, 500, whatever the resources you have, either you create it, update it, or destroy it. Simple. Are you understanding, guys? All of you?
Yeah.
So now the question is, okay, so HCL, this is the code which is called HashiCorp configuration language, which is easy to understand, but it is not understood by AWS. Yeah, AWS will not understand this code. AWS has their own specification. Google Cloud has their own specification. Kubernetes has their own ways to specify this code. So these 4,000 tool which I showed you is not able to understand this code SCL. So what to do? And that is where HashiCorp has introduced, Terraform has introduced one more tool, one more executable as per the provider. And this is called plugin or provider, whatever you want to call it. This is also executable. This is also executable. This is also executable. That means if you're working for three providers, you have to have a three executable. This is made for AWS. This is made for Google Cloud. This is made for Kubernetes. This is called provider or plugin, whatever you want to call it. So what happens? Terraform receive that code, read that code, understand that code, and this code is been sent to the different provider based on what you have written, and this provider will make an API call to this. This provider will make an API call to this, and this provider will make an API call to this. That means this whole code, Terraform will divide, let's say in this case, 3 areas, one for AWS, one for Google Cloud, one for Kubernetes, and then these providers, which is again executable, will send to this API. And then API, you know that if you make an API call to AWS in the right way, they will create an infrastructure. If you have access and all, they'll create an infrastructure. So it can create a resources on AWS, it can update it also, and it can delete it also. Now, did you understand, all of you?
Yes.
Okay, so now guys, my questions to all of you, let's engage now. Uh, let's say if you make an API call, let's say AWS or Azure, whatever it is, whatever the cloud you have worked with, response code will be in what format? Response code will be in what format? JSON, right? Correct now? Response code will be in a JSON format, correct now? All of you? Hello? So guys, this is what it happens. So when it's making an API call, this is response code is coming. Let me straight make it here, and response and all response. So what happens? Terraform capture all this response and store in the file which is called state file. And remember that the state file is basically the whatever the status, whatever the resources you created, all the records the state file maintain it. This state file in a JSON format you should not touch. That means what I'm trying to say is your desire, what you wanted is this one, and this is your actual. And Terraform will always help you to manage your desire. What do you want? You want resources, it will create. You want to update it, it will do the update. And it will do, if you want to destroy, it will destroy. And whatever you want, whatever the actual you have, it will be in the state file. Now, did you understand that, all of you?
The question is, we cannot reutilize. The code is the same for all of them, right? So we can reuse it. This
Code
is
can be
correct.
reused. Yeah, you're right. Code can be reused as many times, right? You just change the, let's say you are creating the same code, one command and one code, let's say one code. This code you can use for creating the infrastructure for staging also. Change the parameter, some variable parameterize and all, I'll teach you. And then it can be integration also. Same production also. And
No,
then
I was thinking about more about different technologies. For example, you have something that you are using on Kubernetes, and then you have the state file, and then this state can be reused. For example, let's imagine that this structure that I have should be put into Azure, for example. I can reuse this code there, right?
oh, this code.
The finish, the state file, yes.
The state file is not a code, it is a response
Okay,
that
so
what you
this
make.
response can be used
Yes, so the
doing
response,
it.
response is always being used. I'll tell you how. So what will happen? Let's say initially, first time you created a 5 resources, and then you say, okay, create a resources, and it created, and now in a state file you have a 5 resources. Next day you add one more resources. So now you said create or update. So what will happen? 5 resources were already there. So it will check these resources is already there or not. So here this check will happen between the actual versus desire. Okay. And then they will find, Terraform will find, hey, I have created the 5 resources already. There's no change in it. Only one extra is there. So let me create only one, and they will update 5 plus 1. So here state file also will have a 6 resources. So basically Terraform uses this state file to maintain what has been created earlier and what exactly the new request is coming through the desire code file.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter which technology I'm using.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Okay. So
So
now this,
Rajesh, these extensions are only for one-way communication, is it? From Terraform to the correspondingly cloud service provider. That's it.
okay. So the funny part is like though I explained you all this flow, but you won't realize this flow because all this thing is happening in the background. You just need to know the Terraform. That's all. The Terraform, this provider, whatever I said, no, it will all this communication happens in the background. You don't need to worry about it.
So just for understanding,
Yeah.
so
Understanding?
you said
Yes.
that
This is
no, my question is the response comes in the JSON format and sits where in the Terraform, right? In the state file, in the form of a
in
state
state
file,
file.
is it?
State file. Yes. Right.
State
Right.
file. So
Yes.
this state file, these extensions do not wait for the response from the service providers, right? It will directly hit the Terraform. Only when Terraform is wanted to talk to the AWS or Google Cloud or whatever Kubernetes, only then extensions will come into the picture. When it
Right.
comes
Yeah.
to the response,
That is where. It's not a continuous connections.
okay,
It's not
it's not full duplex.
no, no. For example,
Okay.
let's say I'll put it in simple way, very, very odd way. Let's say if I say ping google.com. So this request has gone to Google, and then whatever response we get it, you are seeing here. So same way.
Yes. Yeah, but the response is coming back to the same terminal.
Yeah.
So
Response
uh,
always come to the same terminals. Here response will be received by Terraform. Okay.
directly.
All the
Okay.
API, and he will redirect all the response to a state file.
Okay.
Okay, so now this is the flow. So if someone will ask you, hey, how Terraform works? So you should say, we have one thing which is called code. We write a code. Now I'll teach you. Don't worry about that. This is the first thing. Oh no no no. First thing you write a install the tool Terraform. How? It's just a download, not installation. Don't worry about that. So that's a download. Then you have to write a code. Second thing you have to write a code. Okay, I'll teach you how to write a code. Third thing, I must tell you here, this create and update, there is one command which is called apply. Okay, and for destroying the infrastructure, you have one command called destroy. So apply versus destroy, these are the two commands you have. Remember, apply versus destroy. So here I must tell you, here you have apply, here you have a destroy. So this is the first step, second step, and then you run the command which is called third step, and then uh, after that it runs, and then you have a fourth step. These are the four steps you need to do. That's all, and you are done with the whole Terraform work. The only things you have to keep modifying is your code. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is something which I want to show you the demo now. Are you comfortable, all of you? Okay, so now let me start first step, which is like downloading Terraform. So guys, you don't have to do anything. Just go here and Terraform download. Okay, this is the website. Now here you have I think this is for Mac, this for Windows, this is for Linux. If you're a Windows user, we are using AMD 64 architecture. Okay, so mindful about it. So this is the executable, download it. What I have done, I have already downloaded and extracted. What, where? So let me show you. So go to the C drive. You know what? All of my tools, I keep it in the C tools directory. Okay. And here, Terraform here. This is the executable which I downloaded. No need to do install anything. Just a download, copy. That's all. My favorite location is C tools locations. Now, because this is the executable, you can run it here also. Let me show you. You can run it here also, this way. See, oh wait, here you can run it, but I want to run in another location where I am writing a code. So what do we do in this case? I am going to add this location in the environment. So this is something. Here I'll go, yes, And you may not have access to this maybe in your offering, but there's a hell lot of ways to set up an environment variable. I don't think so you'll get stuck for this. Many ways are there. So one of the simplest way I'm showing you here. I added in the path and that's all. So now I can call my things from anywhere. So now let me create one folder here, Terraform. Okay. And then in Terraform, uh, let me bring the commands here, and then I will write Terraform, enter. That's all. Here it is. So that means Terraform install. So what I did, nothing great, that downloaded, extract to certain location, set in the path, and then Terraform is ready. Are you having any questions, any confusion, all of you?
I think Pablo made a very valid point. Uh, you understand that the Terraform state is a very critical element, right? So without it, might not work.
Yes.
If I
So
understood
Terraform,
properly, and also the other guys.
yeah. So
So
Terraform
where it
file,
gets stored?
same location, same directory.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the first thing which I install the Terraform. Okay. Now guys, you want to download the provider also, right? This is the something which you want to download. So how do we download? That's a question. That's a question. How how to download provider? That is a question. Guys, you know what? Manually also you can do that, but that's a hectic work actually. But if you do it through code, it will be easier. So using code. So that means you need to start writing code for downloading the provider also. Yeah. So here, not only the resources which you want, but in fact for downloading that provider, you need a code, using code. So now the question you will ask, okay, which file you should write a code? You should write a code. Now, let me tell you, let's say if you're writing a Java program, you say stored is the Java, right? .java. If you're writing C++ program, you stored with the .cpp. If you're writing a Python program, you store with the .py, right? So same way, if you are writing a Terraform code, you should store with a .tf file. Yes, file name can be anything, okay? And then it should be extension, okay, with a tf. So that is important things. Now this tf file will have a resources which I'll teach you anyways. Now next question is, okay, and this is the most important one. There is one folder, okay, or directory, whatever you want to call it. And inside I have a one .tf. I do have a second tf also, and do have a third tf also. Okay. So I have a 3 tf file, or maybe 4 also, maybe 5 also. So the question is, can I run this in one folder? I have a 3 files. Can I run this one alone, or this one alone, or this one alone? No, you cannot run it. Why? Because in one directory, no matter whether it's a one file or 100 file of Terraform, it is considered to be one project. You have understood? One code, one project. If you have understood, do let me know. Clear? Yeah. Keep supporting me if you have doubts. Are you clear?
I
Yes.
think more or less because basically
Yeah.
you have a bunch of TF files inside one folder, and if you have something different, it will run everything as far as I understood.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It will run everything. Not only one, not only two. It will run 1, 2, 3. All the codes in one directory. That is how that Terraform works. So now this is the two things we need to know. So now the question is how to download the provider. So guys, I don't know. how to download the providers. So if you don't know, you should ask provider itself. So here you have a 4,000 plus provider and you should ask, how do I download? Let me tell you guys, Terraform is the kind of domain which is changing a lot. Okay, so it's always good to refer the official documents only, because they'll give you the perfect, right information. Okay, so let's say I want to download AWS provider. How can I go ahead? So every providers, you will see this button. You have to go and click here. And this is the code which you required, sorry, which you require to run it, which will download internally the provider. Can I go and run it? Let me do that. Now the file name, I'm going to keep it. Uh, mm, Notepad is not coming. It's here. What is the name I should give it? Okay, so name I can give it anything, but here I'm feeling to give it providers.tf, meaningful name. And here I'll go and open this file. Done. That's all. So this is the one block, and this is the one block. Now this is not a JSON. This is not a, YAML. The code which you are saying, this specification is called SCL, HashiCorp configuration language, where you have a block which is called Terraform block, provider block, and they have a multiple arguments. This is how you write it. Okay. So now this basically, you know what? This code only is sufficient for downloading the provider. Only this code, and this is the command. Don't get mistaken. But why we are doing this one? Because because I told you there's so many changes happen in the Terraform and the providers all the time. Every week we have so many release. So here, if you are making sure that the provider of AWS which you're using, the version should be stick to this one. So that way you don't have a compatibility issues again and again, and code is not working or something. Okay, so now the question is, okay, the coding is done. Now what to do? So I'll go to the command line, which is here. Okay, you see that in the same directory, and the command which will download the provider. Can you please help me here? I have selected some of the commands. Can you please help me? Which command may help me to download the providers? Anyone? Just a guess also will work. Init. Okay, so init command, if you run, this is the only one-time activity if you have to do when you are downloading the provider, and you see it's downloading the provider automatically. Terraform is doing that. I must remind you, there is one backend, there's one folder .terraform got created. That's a hidden folder, and let it download it, and then I'll show you the executable of provider as well.
Okay, so every time that we are going to do some action, you need to init the folder, right? But
Not
I imagine that you might want to have more than one folder.
Yes. So
Okay.
if you want to have a more than one provider, let me do that. No, let me go to
No. More than one folder. You created a Terraform folder where you started your food unit
that
on top of it.
that is
I
uh,
imagine that I have another project with another folder, with another parameters, another TF file, and so on. I need to init that as well. So it's possible,
yes,
or
right.
okay?
You are right. Yeah, you are right. So I just said, like, here one folder is equal to one project, no matter how many code you keep it in, a how many. You can keep all the code in one file also, or because we are human being, right? We like to manage in a different file. So it's up to you, how do you manage the code? But for the
I mean,
Terraform, all this thing is one code. Okay.
I
Okay.
think so.
So this is, yeah. So now guys, here what we did, I downloaded the provider, but I want to show you. So usually this will be hidden folders. You have to go inside that providers, registry, HashiCorp, AWS, this one, Windows. Here it is. This is the executable. Now let's say you want to download one more provider. So let's do that. So I'm going to download, let's say, GitHub provider. So I have to search for it. Mm, So many are there. GitHub provider. Not able to find it quickly. Change. New site is spoiled actually. No problem. We'll find it. This is the one. Okay. So that was not coming in the search results. Not sure what is the reason. So this is the code, but you don't have to repeat this block again. So what I have to do, let me show you. So this block will be remain same. That is the one. And second thing, this block and this block cannot be duplicated. So what we'll do, this thing will copy and put it up here. So this is the two providers you downloaded. I mean, you are downloading. So this is the GitHub, AWS. So GitHub is already downloaded. You have to run init one more time to download the another one, which is a GitHub. That's all. Okay, so this is done. So guys, what I did, if you remember, first thing I did download the, let me change the color. I downloaded the Terraform. I wrote one code for downloading that provider. Now I have to write a real code which will create infrastructure resources here, and then followed by I have to run some commands which is like apply or destroy. So three commands you have to remember. Init is a sometime you have to run when you want to download the provider. Else apply, which will do the update and create a both, and destroy. Are you comfortable, all of you? Are you comfortable?
Let's see.
Yeah. Okay, so now what to do? Now next question is how to write a code. That is an important question, right? How to write a code. So guys, don't complicate yourself. This Terraform code is nothing but a resource block actually. So file name .tf has what? Resources. Resource 1 and then argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, argument 4, like this. So this is the kind of block we have. And another resources like this. Another one more resources like this. So for example, here example, this can be EC2. This can be VPC, VPC resources. This can be EBS block resources, something like that. Okay. So now the question is, this is the way you have to write up code. This is a skeleton. You will have a code, resources, their argument, resources, their argument, resources, their argument. And then when you are sure about it, your code is ready, then you must remember only three commands. Okay. One command, the one which you have to remember is plan. Plan will do what? Plan is like a dry run. It will not create a resources on AWS or whatever it is. It will just tell you which are the things will be created. Dry run, check. And apply, which will create and update both. And then finally destroy. So these three commands you have to remember all the time. Plan, dry run, apply for create and update, and destroy means destroy those resources. That means first time it will create and then after that you destroy. So very simple flow. Now you will say, Rajesh, okay, so how do I know which are the resources available and supported by AWS? How do I know which are the resources supported by AWS, Google Cloud, Kubernetes, Azure? How do I know? So this I don't know. You have to go to their website and ask for it. So here, if you go, to this website here. So go for some here. This is the AWS, right? And where's the resources? So guys, every resources you will have a documentation page. Okay, click on it. And now if you see, because if you know the AWS, let me show you this. So here you have these are the services. So these are the these are the categories, my bad. And then if you click on the, let's say, compute, then you got a subcategories. And then if you click on the EC2, then you get a resources, correct? Then you get resources here. So likewise, so if you want to understand Terraform resources, you need to understand the real AWS. So here, if you come to this, here, these are the categories. If you look at it a little bit carefully, because AWS is a pretty huge one, vast one, have more than 4,000 resources. So these are the categories actually. Okay, these all are categories. So now if you go inside the one of the category, let's say Elastic Cloud Compute means EC2. So where is that? Where is that? I'm just looking for it. Here it is. So here it is. So click on the EC2 and see these are the resources, and these are the resources we have. Okay, this is the gradual learning. That means you need to know AWS first before this. So now let's say what you want to create, let's say EC2 instance. So which resources can create EC2 instance? So if you see that here, there is one resource called EC2 instance. And if you read this, provide an EC2 instance resources, this allow instances to be created, updated and deleted. Okay. So now this is something, a resource name is equal to AWS underscore instance. Now here you have a argument, right? Let me show you real time first. Let's say if I go and create one VM on the AWS. So here you see there's so many arguments, right? Name, image, type, this, that, advanced size, I mean disk size, everything. Lots of options are there, right? So same way, each resources will have argument. How do I refer those? So if you come to here, go scroll a little bit down to the resource page, and here you see argument reference, and pretty huge one. You see that is a long page. You have it. So this is something which you have to identify. That's the reason I said before hitting to the Terraform, you should learn uh, 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 providers like AWS and so on. So this will be kind of resource 1, resource 2, resource 3, like this. So I have some examples also. You can try this one. Nothing wrong in it. See here. So many examples has been given. One of the basic examples I'm taking here. This is one resource block. So I'll go to this and open my code. Okay, let me create one new code for this. And this I will name it AWS underscore, or let's say AWS.tf. That's all. Done. And here, done, done. So you see that this is the resource. This is the resource name provided by Terraform. This name is opted by you, whatever you want to give it. And now these are the important required field which you need to fill this, and you're good to go. You want second resources, likewise you have to copy here and then good to go. Simple. So now did you understand how do we plan your code? What are the resources you want to create? You have to come up with it, and then the resource block you have to put it in Terraform. Are you having any questions? Are you having any
Maybe,
questions?
maybe not yet.
Okay, so now let me run, guys. This is the code which you have. I have written in front of you. I need to fill this, right? So go to the AWS and AMI, right? I need a AMI. So Ubuntu image I'm creating, okay? Ubuntu this is AMI. I feed this type. What do you want? T2 micro is okay. So T2 micro. Okay, and then tags whichever you want to give it, DevOps school, something like this. Done. So this is the one resource. This will create one resource. Okay. So now what do we do? I think we have discussed already. There are three commands you need to run: plan, apply, and destroy. So let me run this plan. So clear the screen. Terraform plan. Plan is like a dry run. Okay, it will not create resources, but it would tell you how many resources will be created or updated or deleted. So guys, if I run the plan, I get some error. Now you know what? The troubleshooting is one of the most important skill set in Terraform. So you have to learn actually. So for that matter, if you see that here, there one error, and if you see that here, there's some credential issues, authentication issues, which is there. So what do we do in this case? So guys, understand the logic. Here, you are writing a code, you send to Terraform, Terraform will send to the provider will make a API call, but you know what? This provider can make a API call to AWS only and only if you have access. Not everyone can make a call, right? You don't have access, then how can you make a call? Simple, right? So what I'm trying to say, here you have a 4,000 provider. That means you need to understand how do they support their access. That is important. Okay. So all the providers, you have to understand how they support the access. So in our case, what we are using is AWS. So let me ask AWS itself, hey, AWS provider, can you please tell me how this Terraform can be authenticated? So in this document itself, somewhere, I mean, you go down and this section you will find every provider. Okay, it's not like only for AWS. Every provider is a practice. So here AWS allow you to authenticate using Terraform using different method. Actually 6 different methods are there. By the way, these are not a Terraform supported method. These are the AWS ways to authenticate API. Okay, so one of the things which I'm going to use, which is out of which is like a credential. What do we do in this case? So I go to the AWS and I'm creating one credential. So let me create in front of you on credentials. Okay, so here I'm creating one credential and done. So this is the API. Okay, so this is my provider code and here you have AWS and now AWS credential I need to set. So here you have to have a few options, but now I don't know that options. What do we do in this case? So again, you are going to seek out the help from this page and you see this is the even how to authenticate. If you read the documentations, you'll have everything. So now the first thing which I'm going to update is key. Second thing which I'm going to update, secret key and region. So what is the region I'm going to select? This one. Done. So guys, this is something configured. That means authentication is configured. Now can I run this plan? That means each provider you have to set the authentication. Now if you see that the code has run and now it is telling, hey, if you run this code, one resources will be created, added, zero will be changed and zero will be destroyed. That's okay because I know that in my code I have only one resources. So this is the plan. Now what do we do? Next one, apply. You know that. So let me run this apply. I will create resources. Remember that because you already validated. Here it's saying, hey, one resource will be created, zero to change, zero to destroy. Are you sure you want to go ahead? Yes, I want to go ahead. This you can ignore it also. There's a way to do that, but right now I'm not adding those and done. See here. If I say yes, I get one issues. It says that code is good. There's no problem with the code. But here it says AMI ID is missing. How come? I'm just thinking. Oh, East 1. Okay, okay. My bad. That was my mistake actually. because my region is not East 1, it is just a second. I was working earlier in the Mumbai region. Okay, so here it is, and AP South 1. So that AMI IDs belong to the this region. Done. Now saved it and run this. And see, yes, I want to go ahead. See here, guys, all of you. One is added, 0 change, 0 destroy. So now you see that the flow, what I did, this was me. I write a code. I send to Terraform with the create. Terraform will send this to provider. Provider will make API call. API has, I mean, AWS API has created that resources. Response was given. That is stored in state file. Now the question is, where is the state file? Let me show you. Here, this is the state file. This two is my code, and this is the state file. It will be stored in the same directory. Okay, now you should not modify this file because it will be managed by Terraform, but you can open and see that this is a JSON file, and if you want to see that all the output, so this is the AMI ID got created. Where is the IP address? Here, this is the IP address. Let me validate with AWS. So go to this, and here one resources I was having, and this is the Devops school. You see T2 micro, this is the resources which got created. Simple. So now this is something which we have added, and then finally I did apply. I did create it. So guys, did you understand now how Terraform works? All of you?
Yes.
So now what to do? So guys, I have to do show you the update capabilities also and destroy capabilities. So let me tell you here. Let's say understand, it's a very simple logic, but if you do not think about it, then you'll not understand. Let's say if I change this one, so this will be considered as an update or create. Think about it. Let me put it in simple way. There is one VM running. Can I change the instance ID? I mean AMI IDs while running the instance? No, you cannot change. AWS will not allow. In fact, this is against the fundamental actually. So what will happen if you change this one and if you try to run, let me change this one, okay? Should I change something? What? I'm just looking for some different ID, genuine one. So see here, and I changed to some different ID. I don't know what I'm changing, maybe Windows or something. But if I'm changing the same resource name named with a web, okay, what will happen? Let's understand. Plan. Okay, what will happen? Look at this very carefully. This you have to understand. And you see here, one is adding and one is destroying. That means Terraform is considering that resources which you created, you don't want that. So they're destroying, and rather than it's creating a new resources this time. Okay. So that means if AWS is allowing you to change, you can change. If AWS is not allowing you to change, Terraform will destroy the previous one and recreate the new one. That is what is happened. And that is what I said. This is the desire you have, and this is the actual you have. Okay. So now I'm not changing. Now what I'm doing, I'm changing the only tag, Rajesh. Now the question is, tag is allowed? Can I change the tag? Let me cancel. And see, this is the tag. Okay. This is the tag. So can I change? Yes, it's allowed by AWS. So similarly, if it is allowed by AWS, now look at this. And see here, 0 to at this time, because it's comparing with your state file, and 1 to change because AWS do allow this label to be changed. So it has considered a change. So now if you want to change, you have to apply, enter, and see 1 to change, and yes, done. Now can I validate if the changes has happened or not? Refresh. See guys, Rajesh has come. Now, what is the last command? Anyone remember that? What is the last command which we need to remember? Destroy. And yes, enter. Guys, I just destroy. So now imagine the power of Terraform. Let's say I had only one resources. What about if I have a 400 resources? Can you not create in one command? Can you not update in one command? And can you not, uh, you know, destroy the whole things in one command? And this is Terraform. All of you are clear now?
I have one question. I would like to ask about other parameters of the Terraform code, because here you put only AME and instance type.
Ah,
And what about the disks size and other parameters? Is there a default, or because there was an output of your command in command line
yes. Yeah.
above
So basically,
your.
uh, so if you want to understand that one, you need to understand AWS. Remember that when you go and create a AWS instance, there is a 18 GB default set for you. Remember, here it is. Correct now? So if you do not
But
provide, then
but
only
then
it.
on this case, you are considering just the instance size, right? But
Right. Yeah.
what if I have maybe a question that might also include the what Martin was asking. Imagine that I want to use Terraform with VMware. I suppose it's possible, right? And then I
Yes.
don't have this image templates like we have on AWS. Is there a way that we can define this this size of resources instead of
Yes. Yes.
considering only focusing on AWS, because maybe AWS is fine, but I might need to use this in some other place, right?
Yes.
And this
So
and then at this point, maybe the consideration that Martin did should be very feasible.
yes. Yes. So yeah, as I said, the whatever that I'm teaching you, everything will be applicable for other providers also. Let me show you the demo for that. So just to answer the previous question, let's say you want 8 GB, you don't want 8 GB, no problem. Here, come to this argument documents here and find out that EBS option, disk options, parameter argument. Just a second, I'm searching for it. EBS here. So see here this parameters argument has been given. So here it's not like only 3 options, because it's by default these are required. Actually only these 2 are required. This is also not required, but rest of the things customization you can do that. You can find out the argument. For example, look at this here they have used CPU, how much CPU they want. A few more options you can add it. See here, this is the VPC creating, this is a subnet they're creating, there's a AMI they're using it, and then pulling up. So this is the same pattern you have to follow. Now coming back to the VMware, so let's say vSphere, let's say use. So this is the one of the provider actually. Let me show you. Terraform vSphere provider. Same way, whatever I showed you to AWS, same apply for vSphere also. So here is you have a provider. This is the one, and where is the resources? Look at this. These are the resources. What do you want? So let's say you want the host. So here these are the resources. What you want? Let's say you want to create a clusters. Here there is a one examples. This code. This is the example resources for the cluster. Same way, patterns are same. Got it?
Interesting,
So
because at least, oh, sorry, please continue, Martin.
okay, thank you. So if you would like to connect to the vSphere, for example, so you then need to download this provider on your computer, and from your Windows, if you have, for example, some access to the VMware, then you can connect by this provider with Terraform code to the vSphere,
That's
yeah?
correct. That's correct. Here is a
That's
providers actually.
the same situation, for example, with the Red Hat, or I don't know,
Yes, 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 yes,
with the AIX system. Yeah.
yes, yes. Everything. I just said no. There are 4,000 providers are there. So everything is, I mean, whatever you can imagine, these providers are already available. It's just a matter of you to find out at this place. Concept will be same. Commands will be same. Let's say you want to, you wanted to create a VMs on the this one VMware, right? Here it is a resources. Let me show you. Here, this resource will create a VM. Here it is.
One more question: have we got, for example, provider for the Red Hat, or I don't know, for some Linux system, or for some,
Okay,
or not?
so
Or
let's
this, or providers are only from the lower hardware manage, or we can manage by the system as well, yeah, for example, create some file system or something like this, yeah.
okay. So we
Or
should understand in this way. I'll give you a very simple definition for it. Remember that Terraform supports a provider which is support API. So when you say Linux server does not support API, but let's say if you are having some Red Hat, some application which you are managing with support API, so that is can be a provider. So if you see that AWS also support API, vSphere also support API, Google Cloud also support API, Kubernetes also support API. So anywhere whether it's supported by API, Terraform will support it. But server is not API, right? It cannot be API. So Terraform, I mean, Linux server cannot act like a provider. It is a resource. It is a resource. Got him? Are you getting my?
Yeah, so in this case, I think we are not able to use this to automate things inside the server itself that easily if we don't have a way to connect this to an API somewhere to do something, right?
Yes. So actually, Terraform does have that capability, but it's just let me tell you what I'm trying to. You are trying to say. Probably I'm just saying. Let's have a phase one. Let's not mix the two things. Phase one, creating, updating, and destroying a infra. This is the one problems which we have in SRE. This is one problem. Probably you are saying, hey, we need to patch or configure this server. Config server, right? Config server means maybe patching, installing X number of things, modifying whatever this. So when you say server VM, I'm saying, so for this you need a configuration management tool. Remember, config management tool. Now the question is, what are the config management tool we have? Ansible. Yes, we have config management tool like Chef. We have Puppet. So these Ansible I'm teaching you as part of this overall session, probably in upcoming middle of the session actually, few
okay,
days
so
after.
we
But
use different tools for the different tasks, yeah. Phase one, it, for example, Terraform. From say phase two, it will be, for example, Ansible, yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
By the way, with exception, Terraform does have that capabilities also, but we are not using. This is called provisioner. Okay, I'm not right now complicating your understanding because I want to take in a way so you have a certain knowledge, and then from there you can improve the knowledge. So provisioner does have it, but these are the reliable tools actually for making the changes in the server.
okay, but there can be interconnected. Imagine that we need to do some continuity on this provisioning process, right? Let's imagine that we have Terraform to build the VM itself, and then we are going to have the interaction from Terraform. Okay, server is delivered. Now I'm going to do the handover to Ansible to finish the provisioning.
That's
It can be
correct.
done.
Yes, and this is
This
this
continuity
is
can be done through Terraform as well, I suppose, to
provisioner. Yeah,
launch
answer.
something through Ansible to finish the deployment. I mean,
Yes, and that's called provisioner. Let me show you. Let me show you
okay.
rather than talking. Let me show you. Let me show you because the moment I show you the code, that will be more meaningful and you'll understand faster. So let me just open up my notes. Provisioner DevOps school. See guys, this is my pattern. Whatever you want to search in SRE and DevOps, end of it, if you put it DevOps school, you'll find my tutorial for sure. Okay. So please remember. And here this is my tutorial. And I want to show you one code which you will understand that quickly. Okay. So this is the code I want to show you first and then explain it. Simple code, but we need to understand. See guys, here what I'm doing, if you remember just now, I run just 10 minutes before I run this machine and this VM I created. Now this VM, you want to make some changes in this VM with the one which is created by Terraform. And that is where we use provisioner. Look at this. So these are three provisioners we have it. Anyways, I'll discuss right now. I'll discuss at a high level right now. I'll talk about it. And the one which you are saying is this provisioner, remote exec provisioner, which will do the work. What you can do, these are the commands which you see, which will be running in the machine which you got created using Terraform. So this is the Ansible provisioner. Now let's say you want to run Ansible code also, no problem. So here you can run Ansible code also. Ansible, my bad. Ansible hyphen playbook and web.yaml. That's your playbook. That's all. So you can run this one also. So there are many ways available. I'm just scratching the surface so you can get started. Got it?
But of course, in this example, we need to have this web YAML on the server. Yeah, we need to have to in the
Ha
image.
and
Yeah.
you have a very good question, and that is where you have this one. You see, this one will copy the file from your host machine to this destination machine which is you created. So here
Okay.
instead of that one, here you web.yaml. Let me show you. You copy from the current directory and you are putting this one, and probably you can modify this one like this.
Okay.
Are you getting my logic? Simple way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's clear. But such example like this, is this in your presentation also? Like
Yeah.
some
So
good
this is the this.
example, simple but not so simple.
Huh. Yeah, so this is the one working example. If you run it and you change this MIID, it will work as it is. And what will do? It will copy this file. This file, the one which you see, actually it's there in my directory. Here it is. I'm copying this file instead of some other YAML file. So this file will copy inside the VM here, and then some commands you are running here. It can be Ansible code and something like that.
By the way, I have one more question. Have we got any providers, for example, to manage AIX infrastructure? I mean, power technology, HMC or something like this. Is there any possibility? Because you show some example with the VMware, yeah, with vSphere and something like this. But
Yeah.
what about
So
HMC, for example?
Uh, basically, you have to specify. As I said, there are 4,245 providers are
Okay,
there.
okay.
Every day is getting added. So if you name it out, probably I can search right away and tell you. But yeah, I mean, you can also search for
probably
this place.
someone already did it, Marcin. Nobody likes power anymore. But
Okay.
unfortunately, I really like it, but seems like everybody's decided not to like it anymore. And we don't
It's
have
too
that many
expensive.
automations for AIX.
Okay, thanks for explanation.
But I
Yeah,
know a guy that knows a guy that was doing lots of things for AIX and Python and so on. Maybe he has something done. I might try to investigate and share with you what he has.
Okay, thank you.
okay, great. So guys, now I destroy this. Okay, so I destroy this and you're good to go. So the only things now it will change your code. That's all. So you have to work on the code. See here in this code, uh, again complexity will come as you go on, because you don't create a one resources, you create a multiple resources. So now we have a few more topics which we want to cover. But before that, let's grab one break. Get your tea, coffee, restroom, and personal calls for next 20 minutes. And once we come back, I'll teach you the Terraform variables and also some of the programs, something like a modules and all. Though I know that it's a little tight program and timing we have, but I'll try to help you maximum what I can in limited duration.
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.